All right, I told this story once already, but the phone died, so I'm probably not going to do as good of a job, but I'm going to try to get through it as best as I can. So I was at my house, and all of a sudden I just started sweating bullets. And I wasn't hot, but I was sweating. And at the same time, my mind just came completely calm and quiet, totally quiet. There was no thoughts inside of my head at all. And I didn't know what had caused it. When I went by my weed dealer's house before he got killed, then he was like sweating bullets and he looked like really pale as a ghost and his pupils were all dilated. And I just felt like I probably looked the same way. And that made me nervous. And so I sat down and they killed him so they could put another guy into my life in place of him for another backup assassination attempt that I'll get to here in a minute. But so the point of the story is that I sat down on my recliner and I just started praying to God. I said, God, please tell me, is it like, God, please help me. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. I have no idea. Please help me. And I felt this voice kind of say, it was kind of like a voice, and it said, Tanner, why don't you go down by the river and think about it? And just go down the river and think about it. Oh shit, that makes me nervous. Go down by the creek behind my house. Why don't you go down by the creek? Think about it. Oh shit. I was like, what? Why do I have to go down by the creek? So I got my gun and ran out the back door, jumped my fence. On my way across the yard, one of my neighbors, I thought I heard one of my neighbors too. One of my neighbors was a cop. His wife was a cop. And I thought I heard one of them say, he's doing that Krav Maga stuff, or he's on that Krav Maga stuff. And see, I learned this watching human weapon videos when I was 23. And it's where I learned it, was from the episode on Krav Maga. And they talked about going into an obstacle course. They put him in an obstacle course. They said, trust your instincts. And so I knew that, you could trust your intuition and this kind of thing in a combat type of situation. And so anyways, so I went down by the creek. I pointed my gun up towards the fence, laying on the creek bed. I was ready. And so not long after that, I heard boing, and my dog barked. See, a lot of stressful stuff was going on with this cum witch stuff. A lot of stuff was starting to occur to me. And I put my dog bark collar, I put a bark collar on him, put it all the way on the highest setting so he would not bark at all. He was a little dog. I never did that to him, but in this situation, I did it to him. And he barked, which he never barked. And then I heard my neighbor say, what was that? And so he heard it. And it didn't sound like glass breaking. It sounded like somebody had scored it down the middle, put suction cups and pulled, and the reverberation from the glass panels separating caused that sound, the sound of reverberation. God, Alex Jones, get off my phone. See, this is the kind of stuff he can't stand because he can never measure up to this. He's a stalker who follows me, who stalks me and gets on my devices, let me know. And he's a Fabian communist fraud. Anyways, the point of this story, this kind of stuff he can't take because he knows he's a fraud. Subconsciously, he can't deal with it because all the fans and everything, he looks at me and he can't deal with it. So he's always going to be doing this, causing problem. Anyway, the point of the story is that so I'm sitting down there behind the creek. I heard this noise, so I said, fuck this, I'm not going to move at all. I'm just going to stay right here. And I stayed there for like an hour. And while I was there, I could have swore I heard my dad's voice say, yeah, Tanner, yeah. And I was like, this is what I was telling you, you know what I mean, was going to happen. And he wasn't there. I don't know if he had that feeling about it or not, but in my head, I felt like I heard it. And so I waded down into the creek, and I went all the way up the creek to where it dead ends at the end of the street. The green belt behind my house, waded down, went down to the creek, went up to this guy's house. It was one of my neighbors. He was a cop. I seen a cop car outside his house, so I was thinking, I was nervous. I wanted to talk to a police officer or something. And he didn't come to the door. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I'm standing here in front of a cop's house with a gun in my hand, sopping wet. It was a high point. It was like a massive gun. I'm like, this doesn't look good. I need to get out of here anyway. So I went back to my house. And then subsequently, the Acacia Strain put out their song. No, that wasn't what happened next. So, but anyways, there was this album called it was The Last 10 Seconds of Life by The Last 10 Seconds of Life is the name of the group, and they had designed it with an attractive album cover so that I would hear it and be programmed for if they didn't kill me. And that was what I think it was North of Corpus was about. And so what it did was it caused me to threaten this guy. And as soon as I threatened him, I knew that I had fucked up because I could feel it, and I was going on my intuition. I was feeling a lot. And so I was driving up and down the road just sweating bullets. I had the air conditioner on full blast, and I was still sweating bullets. And I mean, full blast blowing on me, sweating bullets, driving up and down the road. And I went to a gas station. I went to these gas stations. I would walk around with a gun just openly brandished, you know what I mean? Like in my waistband so everybody could see it because I was nervous. And one of the weird things that happened, I sent something to the FBI. And I said something out loud from my phone about living water. I thought I heard it in the toilet say, kill him. And then I was in a gas station, and this dude walked in. He goes, shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head. he had a baseball cap on. He was a black dude. He looked like he was about 30-something years old. Shoot him in the head. I was like, whoa. And then I went out and got my car, and this dude walked outside, and he looked over at me like you got something going on there. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyways, so it was a bad experience. At some point I felt like, I don't know if I can keep going. It was emotionally exhausting. It was emotionally devastating. I was wrecked, and I ended up with severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Anything that threatens me at all could send me into a manic episode, and I'll be like this for days or weeks or months. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like real bad. And so, but I went up to, so I drove north to Oklahoma. About halfway up, I stopped, and I realized that something was going to happen to me in Oklahoma. I just could feel it. So I stopped on the side of the road, and I was like, okay, what the fuck am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? If I go this way, I'm fucked. If I go that way, I'm fucked. And I was like, shit, fuck it. I'm going to go this way. I trust my dad more than that, than them. You know what I mean? But so what it looks like is like somebody had, some of the things he said coincided with some lyrics in the Last 10 Seconds of Life album, specifically on these subject matters. And it looks like somebody got to him and had him saying stuff. He wound up with this woman who was a central banker's daughter, and I went by their room. He had taken my gun. I left it on the countertop somewhere. I was very nervous. I was calling the police. At one point, I ran into his room, grabbed him by the shirt tail, and drug him across the fucking room. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And because, see, on this song Observer by the Acacia Strain, if you listen to it, it's a 27-minute long song, but there's conversations in there that was had between me and her that I didn't show to anybody. I don't know how they got them and got that information. And then subsequently, the sound of a car crash, sound of somebody going flatline. I was very nervous because I knew that Lena Haiti had something to do with the Coma Witch, and the aliens were showing me stuff to let me know this has to do with your assassination attempt. And what they were doing was had this woman try to put me into a love trance, she did put me in a love trance, and they knew I wasn't eating it. Vincent Bennett posted a tweet about a lettuce sandwich, and they probably knew that I was so threatened that I couldn't eat, but at the same time that they were thinking maybe their Coma Witch agenda had worked, put me in a love trance, you know what I'm saying? Kind of did work, but I figured what the fuck was going on pretty quick, really quick. It didn't get me like that. The whole time I basically suspected something was going on. And I knew that they had hacked my head somehow. So it wasn't like, she was older than me. It wasn't like true romance or anything. But the point of the story is that that had caused me to become nervous about what was going on. And so I was nervous about what was going on with her. And I was calling the police. You got to get over there. I went by when that happened, he took my gun, went to his room with it. And then as I walked past the room, I heard his wife say, just don't hurt him too much. You know what I mean? And just don't hurt him too much. And so, anyways, that scared me. And then I went back downstairs and I went back upstairs. And I heard him talking. He said, I'm going to shoot that nigger in the head. And then I went back up there again and he goes, something about I want to see that rabbit run, which was in the fucking last 10 Seconds of Life album. Okay. A song that was about my side, getting me to all this point. And so, anyways, went to a psychiatric facility. I called the police, or the police eventually showed up. And when they showed up, I said, listen, you got to get me out of here. Take me to jail. And he goes, I can't take you to jail unless you've done something wrong. And I said, well, what could I be doing wrong? And he said, well, if you were intoxicated right now, that would be public intoxication. And I said, well, then I'm intoxicated. Take me to jail. And so he took me to jail. And I wound up in a psychiatric facility. Mysterious people showed up while I was inside of there. The place got flooded with people with tattoos on. One of the guys in the room next to me, in particular, knew something wasn't right. I got near him and he was like this, which is like, oh shit, you're here to fucking kill me. And so I sat him down and I go, listen, I'm sorry, man. And he just looked at me like this. Like he was trying to think, but I'm in the gang and you're fucked. Straight the fuck up. That's what was being conveyed to me. Straight the fuck up. Okay, and so one night I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, oh shit, something's about to happen to me. I walked outside. He was at the end of the hall. He had asked the nurse where the bathroom was, which it was in his room. So what he was doing was trying to, he was probably buying time because he didn't really just want to come in and do it. You know what I mean? Or he wanted to look like he was going, like he didn't know where he was or he was disoriented or something. Oh, I wound up in his room. But either way, and at one point he looked at me like this, like you ready to fight or what? Like right after we got done talking. And so I knew I was in a bad situation with that, and all these people were surrounding me. And one of the dudes, I knew they were there to kill me. One of the dudes, I said, are you here to kill me? And he goes, oh, I can't say that. And he goes, oh, no. See, I knew he was going to say that. I knew if I caught it, if I just said it real fast like that, then he would be like, oh, no, I can't say anything about that. Oh, no, I'm not here to do that. And then he found out that the other dude was here to kill him, and he started making phone calls to his gang. And it was like watching gangs communicate and shit. I was watching him talk to this fucking person. Anyway, so after that, I went back to my house. And I felt like I had a feeling, right after the initial assassination attempt, that I was going to need to turn all the lights off and that they would be scared. It was like a moment that shit, I got to hang on to that. Okay, so I can't forget that. Because it happened so fast, I was like, I don't even know if that was what it was. I don't even know what happened. But, so, the night that they showed up, so incidentally, I had told him, I gave him the key to my house because I was thinking, well, I'm going to pay him to kill this dude, or I don't know if I was thinking, oh, look, that just turned on by itself. See what I'm saying? So, did you see me a little bit nervous there? They were going to seize on that moment. It goes on all the time. For real. Just like nothing, looks like it ain't nothing. Anyways, the point of the story is that, so I told him I said, I'm going to leave the key to my house right here by this stop sign, and you can come and get it. So when I went to get the key, there was a younger Hispanic dude. Alex Jones is in here. Oh my God, he's a loser. He can never measure up. He's a fraud. He can't face himself. I called him to his voicemail. That was where the song Impaler came from, because I was all messed up. I'm on a mission from God. Oh my God, I don't know what's going on. And crazy stuff was going on. Yeah, he's a fraud. And he stalks me, and they know my girlfriend's on drugs because they're stalking her. That's what's in the song. Bills have eyes. He lets me know he's watching me all the time. He's always doing this. He can't face himself, but he has to be doing this. That's why it's such an outlandish response with the Acacia strain and everything they did, because he's a loser and he can't measure up. He can't be doing this. That's it. So, but anyways, the point of this, he's short and all that. But the point of the story is that he's like 5'3". I've seen him in person. But the point of the story is that in reality, so I pulled up, see that kind of stuff. Anyways, but so I pulled up to the stop sign, and there was a younger Hispanic dude, maybe looked like he was about 24 years old, maybe. Looked like he was in a gang. You know what I'm saying? Like had the thug thing going on. And I saw him reaching down to leave some right there by the stop sign. So I knew it was my fucking house key. So I knew they had my house key. But anyways, I went back to my house, and a couple days later, maybe it was, I don't know how much longer it was, but maybe a day or 2 or 3 days after that, I was in my house when I was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was listening to the song Nauseam by Heart of a Coward. Incidentally, that is very incidental that I was listening to that song at the time. You should look that song up and look up the lyrics, because it's it coincides with what was happening at that moment. But so I was listening to Heart of a Coward, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, here they come. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like there wasn't any kind of fear involved in it. It was just a feeling of oh, we're here. Is like it was like I can't explain it. It was like a drug. It was like being a predator. You know what I mean? It was like oh, I know what it's like to be a predator. You know what I mean? Like to be the predator. You know what I mean? Not the prey. You know what I mean? And I can't really explain it, but I shut all the lights off inside the house, and then I went into the garage, and it's such a feeling, man, of empowerment. I can't explain it. You know what I mean? Like being in power. You know what I mean? Being in control of the situation. Like, you could never do that. I'll just screw your head up. You know what I mean? If you tried. And so they came inside. I knew that it had something to do with scaring Mexicans with the darkness. Like, they would be scared if I was hiding in the dark or waiting in the dark for them or something like that. And so I went into the garage, and I shut all the lights off in the house, went into the garage, said, here they come, guys. Said that to the phone. Like, I'm not worried at all. You know what I'm saying? Got into the garage, and all the lights were off. I was just sitting in a dark house by myself in the garage dark, listening to the song Heart of a Coward. The song ended. As the song ended, at the moment that the song ended, I heard a rice burner car, you know what I mean, pull up in front of my house. And then I saw the lights turn on inside the house. And I heard them in there talking, in the next room. So by the time that happened, I actually was not feeling empowered at all. I was very scared. When I say very scared, I can't explain to you how scared I was. I was praying to God over and 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 over. God, please help me. God, please help me. And my head went down and my glasses fell off. Bang. While they were in the house. And I was like, oh shit. I was hanging onto the doorknob as hard as I could with all my strength because there was no lock. All I had was my pellet gun and my flashlight. So, but I heard do 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 do. Like somebody had heard that and just was like, fuck this shit, I'm getting out of here. I mean, Hispanic people do not like, demons or how the fuck were you in here in the dark already or any kind of shit like that. But anyways, so then after that, the Acacia Strain put out their song Bitter Pill, basically calling me a coward for hiding, hiding under cover, pays the fire as a coward. You will be the first, the most deliciously devoured. Like they were pissed, They were pissed that they couldn't kill me. And anyways, it didn't really bother me, but it did because, if you read the Art of War, it says, if you can avoid a confrontation, that's the superior strategy. And so I felt good about it, but it did bother me a little bit. But I posted some stuff on Twitter. I changed it over to my real name. And I changed it over to my real name, and I felt like people who I'd grown up with had seen that and just suddenly couldn't live with themselves anymore. You know what I mean? Like, just like life was over. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting here like, these motherfuckers are trying to kill my ass, and y'all can't take it. You know what I mean? Like, wound up around some really kind of blue collar trash people whenever all this shit started to go down, and I wound up with my mom, and my parents got divorced, and I wound up around the class of people that I would have never wound up around. But so what ended up happening was after that, I was in my bathroom upstairs, and I felt something say, you know, you need that gun right now. And it was kind of a feeling of what the fuck would happen to me if that gun wasn't here? You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I would be fucked right now. You know what I mean? And it didn't feel good, but it didn't bother me that much. But anyways, I got the gun and I went into my shower. I had a glass shower with, you know, an elbow kind of at the top there, and I put it on the elbow. And I was sitting there taking a shower. I don't know how I knew, but there was somebody coming. So as he came, I was reaching for my gun already, like real fast. I need to take this out. So I was like super fast, you know, like, oh shit. Like, I was already reaching for the gun by the time he rounded the corner. You know what I mean? Just to mind fuck him, you know? And then I knew that he would double back, like, in disbelief. And so I was waiting for him with one of these, you know what I'm saying? Just like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like dun, dun, dun. Now you don't even know what's going on. I'm already smiling at you. How's that for a mind fuck? You know what I'm saying? So he looked kind of like somebody that I had gotten into trouble with when I was younger. We had done some robberies we'd done some burglary, and we ended up getting a robbery charge together when I was 19. And it kind of looked like him. The glass was foggy from all the hard water stains and everything that I had not cleaned off, so I wasn't able to make him out. But he was about the same height, and his face was shaped about the same way. And his ex-girlfriend was a girl that I had taken to prom. So I don't know. I feel like that whole community just tried to kill me. Like, they're just a bunch of low life trash, and it's like the verse says, why do the heathen rage? You know what I mean? Like, certain classes of people, like the white trash, they'll just, you never know what the hell. White trash people will get crazy about anything. Anyways, look, the point of the story is this. So after that, the government or whoever tried to kill me, so after that, actually, I just sat there in the shower for like 20 minutes. I didn't even get out because I was like, if I'm a coward, then why am I just standing here in this fucking shower like it ain't shit after somebody just came in here to try to kill me? Why ain't I locking the door or anything? You know what I mean? But anyways, the point of the story is that after that, they didn't try to kill me anymore because they fucking knew that they couldn't. So they changed plans and they used music. It's a long story. I don't know if I want to get into all the details. But they used music to guide me into Colorado. They had me. They put music in my face. I was basically working on the end of music, and they would just fuck up the end of it. One of the songs was, if I found a really good song that they had fucked up the end of it, then I would always work on it, and they knew that. So they made a really good song, fucked up the end of it. It was about besieging a city. And then there was another song. That's Philosopher's Throne by Xavier's Wolf. And then there was Ice Nine Kills Reptile's Dilemma, which was to set your sighs for annihilation. This will be the wrath that brings you down. That was designed to bring me down. You see what I'm saying? And then they did, but Ice Nine Kills, the name Ice Nine Kills goes to Ice Cube, the number 9, the kids running off of number 9 on the Follow the Leader album. And so that was to let me know that subconsciously made me start thinking and I didn't even know it was them that caused it, about what they had done to me. So it would send me into a state of like spiral down so they could arrest me, just to arrest me, because they couldn't even figure out anything else. They pulled out the stops just to fucking arrest me, if you could even believe that. And I didn't even wind up in jail for an extremely long period of time. But the point of the story is that so I did, and so I made a video. I put my social security number out there on the internet so you could see the correlation between the Slipknot code, which they did. The Slipknot code has to do with my birth certificate, my social security number, and the date that they killed Tupac, and the 7 Day Theory name of the fucking album, and the Slipknot album that was released 6 days before that. All of that has to do with is letting me know that, we're watching you, and I think most of it was out of jealousy or a woman's vendetta agenda to like put a power, like a successful man under. Because I had so much going on. I was one of the best basketball players in the United States. Everybody knew it. Had people, NBA people were showing up, and I was testing the gifted and talented math and science. So everybody fucking knew that I was like, that's what really caused it. If you want to know the fucking truth, it was probably Queen Elizabeth, because she saw that, and that's how women are. But but anyways, they're losers. But the point of the story is that after I put that out there, and it caused, I had already bought camouflage gear, I had already bought everything because I had sensed it coming, and I tended to go to the forest before they could even get me. I was trying to get there, but I kept driving in circles because I was thinking about the shit that they had done. And what ended up happening, so I went to this hotel this motel room after I put that out there. I ran into the dude from True Detective, the black guy. He just smiled at me. I was walking past him. He goes, "Hi, Tanner," and I go, "What?" And he goes, "Nothing." You know what I mean? Like just had that smile about it. And it wasn't quite like that. It was like, you know how he is. You know what I mean? Like warm smile at a motel. This person does not hang out around motels. I could have swore I saw somebody from Ozark at another fucking place I was at the next day. I'm not sure, but she looked like, if it wasn't her, it was her doppelganger. But whatever. The point of the story, the wife, the older woman. But the point of the story is just. The point of the story is just. So I was in the motel room, and all of a sudden I hear these people, and one of them says, "Hey Tanner, I'm with the military. I want to give you the badge for freshness." And then the next guy come in and goes, "Tanner, I'm with the IRS. I want to let you know there's been a series of, I'm with the IRS. I want to let you know there's been a series of checks on your social security number, this kind of thing, and unverified checks on your social security number." And then this woman comes over, she starts talking to me. She's got a very vicious tone about her. And she goes, starts saying something about, implying that they killed my grandfather. And I say, "Well, what happened to my brother?" And she goes, "Well, I know he was a terrorist." And I go, "Okay." So then she threatened, she goes, "There's a woman in this." I said, "Somebody kill her." And I heard a body hit the floor right above me, hit the deck. A human body, the weight of a human body. That was all there was nothing else that it could have been. Above me, directly above me. A human body hit the floor. They died. Anyways, the point of the story is a couple days later, I was going in circles. They finally arrested me. I went back to this place I went back to where I'd originally been to get a MoneyGram for my dad, and there was no MoneyGram. I went outside. There was people waiting for me. There was bulletproof vests on, helmets, machine gun at my head. 50 cops. Okay, now I'm not playing with you. Okay, 50 cops. Okay, now let me tell you something. Okay, I had not threatened anybody. I threatened one person on Twitter after everything. The lead singer of Slipknot, the lead singer of Korn, with a tweet that I eventually deleted, or who even knows. 50 cops. Okay, now they took my bond from Texas, which was a setup, that is an obvious setup. That they used Adam Kokesh to set political precedent and everything like this, so they could just get me in jail because they're losers like that, I guess. But anyway, so the point of the story is that God. Anyway, so your priorities, man. Seriously, tax money is not for this kind of shit. But the point of the story is that so, yeah. So 50 cops were there. Okay. Now here's the thing. There were so many cops. I was basically freaking the fuck out because if there's this many fucking cops here to arrest my fucking ass, then and there's no reason, what the fuck's gonna happen? Well, you're gonna kill me? You can take me somewhere and kill me? I start screaming. Okay, now people saw this and were watching like this. Because look, there's 50 cops around me. I'm screaming about Slipknot. You can see it in my face. You can see it in my eyes that something's going on. Something's fucked up going on. And so people were shot all up in the area and killed. One guy taking his kid to the fucking dentist's office. Somebody else crawled underneath a bus. On the day that the jail took me to court, somebody invaded one of the police vans and killed the cop who was driving it. On the day that they took me to court. Now, the jail's not at the court. They have to take you to the court. And when I got back, the whole place was on lockdown. But anyways, once they got me arrested, once they put me in jail, then the next day, Donald Trump saluted North Korean generals. He was so fucking happy. You know what I mean? He was happier than he's ever been in life. You know what I mean? He was so fucking happy that he saluted North Korean generals. And so that went on. And I don't think anything else went on after that, but essentially, I think that's probably everything that is the most serious and the most impactful. But yeah, all that stuff happened.